A 5-year-old boy stands on a single toe in the deep forest and locks his breath in his lungs. This is the pranayama of a master. His concentrated spiritual weight causes the earth to tilt, while his internal stillness blocks the universal prana, the life force of the cosmos itself. Within weeks, the deities of the celestial realms find themselves gasping for air. Panicked by this total atmospheric standstill, they petition Lord Vishnu to descend and break the child's meditation before the universe suffocates.
Vishnu calmly explains that a child's unwavering physical resolve has temporarily hijacked the mechanics of reality. A mere mortal, through sheer willpower, brought the cosmos to a standstill. To restore order, Vishnu descends to the forest. He pulls Dhruva from his deep internal trance, revealing his physical, four-armed form. Dhruva wants to praise the deity standing before him, but he's 5 years old. He simply doesn't have the words or the knowledge of the Vedas to do it. Recognizing the boy's struggle, Vishnu gently touches Dhruva's cheek with his divine conch shell. In Hindu philosophy, this conch represents the Nada Brahma, the primordial sound and source of all knowledge. This single touch floods the boy's mind with the total sum of Vedic wisdom and supreme divine peace. Pleased with his devotion, Vishnu grants Dhruva a permanent place in the cosmos. He creates an entirely new, indestructible realm high above the wandering planets and the ancient sages. We know it today as Polaris, the North Star. Impressed by such iron-willed discipline, Vishnu promises Dhruva a 36,000-year reign over the earth. He also creates a permanent, indestructible celestial dwelling for the boy, Dhruvaloka, designed to outlast even the dissolution of the universe. Dhruva has achieved a level of planetary influence rarely seen in human history. But as he turns back towards his father's kingdom, he discovers that conquering his own physical limits was the simple part of the journey. As the golden light of the vision fades and the ordinary sounds of the forest return, Dhruva is not filled with triumph. He is overcome by a sudden, heavy sense of loss. He realizes the magnitude of the encounter he just squandered. He stood face to face with the source of all existence, the one force capable of granting eternal liberation from the cycle of birth and death, and he used that moment to ask for a temporary throne and social status. He describes his mistake with a biting metaphor. He was offered a priceless diamond, but pushed it aside to gather up broken glass. Looking at his future, but 36,000-year reign appears as a mere speck of dust. This realization transforms his spiritual outlook. The transactional desire for power is replaced by a focus on the infinite loop of moksha. He no longer seeks to use his meditation to gain things. He uses it to lose the ego that wants them. This is the beginning of his maturity. He understands that even the most massive earthly success carries very little weight when measured against the scale of the eternal. Dhruva had left the palace months earlier as a rejected, crying child. He returns as a realized spiritual master. His repentant father runs to embrace him, and even the stepmother who banished him blesses his arrival in a tearful family reunion. At just 6 years old, Dhruva takes the throne. He initiates a peaceful, highly organized reign that lasts for decades, marrying and raising children of his own. This era of peace shatters when his stepbrother, Uttama, goes on a hunting expedition deep within the Himalayas. There, he is ambushed and killed by a clan of mountain warriors known as the Yakshas. The tragedy spirals. His stepmother, frantic with grief, runs into the wilderness to find her son. She becomes trapped in a sudden forest fire and perishes, a harsh karmic echo of the burning grief she once inflicted on Dhruva's own mother. Even a highly disciplined yogi feels human grief. Consumed by anger at the sudden loss of his brother, Dhruva loses his spiritual clarity. He climbs into his heavy war chariot and rides alone toward the Yapsha capital, fiercely intent on a bloody revenge.
Dhruva launches a brutal one-man assault against the Yakshas. Desperate to stop him, the surviving Yakshas unleash terrible illusions upon the battlefield. The sky rips open,
raining blood, tearing winds, and nightmarish beasts down on Dhruva to break his mind. Dhruva doesn't blink. He calmly draws water, purifies himself, and summons the Narayana Astra, a supreme divine weapon. With a single volley, golden arrows pierce the dark illusions, shattering the magic and cutting down the Yaksha army by the thousands. As the slaughter reaches its peak, Dhruva's grandfather, the ancient lawgiver Swayambhuva Manu, suddenly appears on the blood-soaked field and orders him to stop. Manu delivers a sharp lesson in morality. He explains that massacring an entire society for the crime of one warrior violates the laws of justice. A mind truly connected to the divine must see that same divine spark inside every living creature, even its enemies. The anger drains from Dhruva. He lowers his bow and stops the assault. When the grateful Yaksha king appears and offers him any treasure he desires, Dhruva refuses material wealth. He asks only that his memory of the divine remain clear forever, proving he has finally outgrown his worldly desires. Dhruva returns to his capital and completes his 36,000-year reign. When the time comes, he hands the kingdom to his sons and retreats to the Himalayas to calmly prepare for the end of his physical life. As his final breath approaches, the sky opens. A brilliant, otherworldly chariot, a Vimana, descends from the spiritual realm to carry him away. But he cannot leave his body without passing through the cosmic law of mortality. The physical embodiment of death approaches him. Yet death doesn't arrive as a conqueror to drag him away. Instead, the figure bows deeply, waiting like an obedient servant. Invited to board the chariot, Dhruva physically places his foot squarely on the head of death to use it as a stepping stone. Complete surrender to the highest truth removes any lingering terror of mortality, reducing death to a simple staircase. As the chariot begins its ascent, Dhruva pauses. A final human thought crosses his mind. He looks back, worrying about the mother who first pointed him toward the forest and the divine path. The divine attendants point outward, and Dhruva sees a second glowing chariot flying right beside his own, carrying his mother. Her son's spiritual victory elevated her along with him, proof that a single soul's realization can uplift an entire lineage. This chart highlights the rotation of the northern sky. Major constellations and planetary bodies are locked in chaotic, endless cycles of movement. But in the exact center sits Dhruva, taking his position as the one completely still point, while everything else turns around him. Today, we look up and see the pole star. It stands as a permanent monument to a boy who learned to master total stillness amidst the illusions of the world, becoming the indestructible lodestar for the rest of the cosmos.